Hello and welcome to the Corona Yoga Challenge, and today is day 80. We have made it to the 80s. Pretty impressive. Please make sure that you check my website to make sure that you're keeping safe and adapting poses, as it's going to be really good for your body. And please subscribe here if you want to get updates on when things are happening, when the videos upload. We're going to start by coming into all fours, so if you want to bring yourself to a comfortable position on your mat, ideally do have a mat because we're going to be coming up into dog pose, so we don't want to be slipping at all. So what we're going to start with, if you have your toes tucked under, you're just going to be arching your back up towards the ceiling and back down. And you're going to be flowing back and forth, so you're getting that feeling of space through the back and that lift up through the pelvic floor and the tummy, and then that releasing down and breathing in. So if you end up breathing another way, just let it happen, don't worry. But it's often most comfortable to do it this way because it works with the kind of positioning of your lungs. So as we're arching up, we're wanting to get a real feeling of space into each little vertebrae area. So it's about rounding the back up and keeping it round as kind of full as possible. So sometimes you can think of drawing the hips and your head towards each other to increase that feeling of kind of opening through the back of the vertebrae and the back of the spine. Come back to neutral for a moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up into dog pose, and we're going to use that arching up feeling. It's a different way of coming up and just quite a nice way of doing it. So either watch or do it with me first, depending on how confident you feel about it. But I'll talk it through as if you're doing it with me, but you might just want to watch the first time. So there's a feeling of lift up in the pelvic floor, up in the tummy. That starts to round the back up. The back arches up, the head releases down. And then we keep that arch in the spine, lift yourself up and into dog pose. And as you come into dog pose, you'll get that lengthening out feeling in the hips. The heels will start to come down a little. And the knees are going to come to the floor. Take a breath in, and then as you breathe out, lift up through the back of the waist, the tummy, the pelvic floor, lift up through the knees, keep the back rounded, and then as you get that lengthening in the hips, then start to lengthen the legs, heels can start to come down. When you need to breathe in, knees come to the floor. Easy breath in, and let's just do an easy breath out before we do that next one. So when that next breath out comes, lift up through the pelvic floor, up through the tummy, up through the back of the body, head comes down, head and hips are close. Press into the hands, keep the rounding up through the spine, lengthen up and hips come out and away, heels extend down to the ground. And the knees come onto the floor. Take an easy breath. Just notice your breathing for a moment. So we notice, how is the body breathing? How does it feel? How are we inside ourselves? So it should feel like, oh yeah, nice, open breathing, flexible back. That's how we want to feel. So if it doesn't feel like that, if you feel like, oh, that was a bit hard work, then you can just do it on the floor here. So we don't have to come up and into dog pose. We can roll through cat and through the spine from all fours. So choosing whether you're now going to do a little bit more in all fours or if you're going to come up into dog pose again. So same thing, we're going to breathe out, and as you breathe out, lift up through the back of the waist, pelvic floor, tummy, head hangs, pelvis close. Press into the hands, keep the rounding in the spine for as long as you can, and then lengthen out. And then let your knees come down. Breathe in. And then if you sink yourself back to child's pose, so head onto the floor, shoulders relaxed, body breathing easily. And as you rest down, really enjoy that feeling of the movement of the lungs. So you can feel the movement of your tummy, which is activated by the lungs, on your thighs. You can maybe feel it through the back of your waist. Just enjoy that feeling of really becoming more aware of your breathing. And then we're going to come up and into standing from here. So you're going to walk your hands in towards your knees. You're going to lift up with the hips soften slightly through the back of the legs, so you can let your elbows rest onto your thighs somewhere. And it could be much higher if it's better for you. And as you release down, allow the back of the neck to start to become long. You're going to bend through the knees, send your hands all the way up and overhead, stretch up, and then bring your hands down to your heart. We're going to come to a version of triangle pose from here, so if you want to bring yourself comfortably onto your mat, you're going to take a step forwards so that both feet are facing straight forwards, and you've got a bit of space between them, but again it could be narrower, it could be wider, just depending on how you feel. Hands are going to come in towards your heart. You're going to bring your shoulders round facing the open side, and then you're going to dip down with your shoulder so you come towards that lengthening out position. And then from here, if it feels comfortable, let your hands come out and then back into your heart. Press down through the feet to bring yourself up and back to facing the short edge of your mat. And then we're going to swap over, so either just put the other leg in front. I'm going to just turn round so that you can still hear me. So first of all, feet are both facing towards the short edge of your mat. Hands are in towards your heart. You're going to open out so that you've got that feeling of moving into the open space. Then your shoulder starts to come down. Make sure you're nice and steady with the legs. So it might be that you come to here and you do it from here. It's really dependent on your body. And then from here, extend your hands out. And then come back in towards your heart. Press down through your front foot. And bring yourself back to facing the front. And then back to legs wide, hands at the heart. We're going to do one more on each side. So now we're going to do an adaptation of this. So we're going to start by bringing ourselves forward. So nice long back, so we're coming through Parsvottanasana. Then we're going to let the shoulders come out and wide if you would like. Then let the hands follow. And then hands come back in towards your heart, back to facing the short edge of your mat, and then press into your feet to come up to standing. And then other side. So comfortable, steady step back, heels are sunk down and onto the ground. Hands are at your heart, shoulders are released. You're going to lean yourself up and forwards, then open out into the open space, and then maybe the hands will follow. Hands come back into your heart, rotate round to face the short edge of your mat, and then press into your feet to bring yourself up and to standing. Let your hands come down, let your shoulders relax. Come to that moment of Tadasana when we just feel a little bit easy and a little bit open. We're going to come down to the floor now, so if you want to bring yourself to sitting with your legs out in front. And we're going to do a version of Janusirsasana. Fantastic name, isn't it? It just means one leg out, one leg in, but it's a great name. Just trying to get it so I can get all of me in here. There we go. So Janusirsasana is where the leg comes out to the side. However, what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little version of it, and we're just going to cross one leg over the other. So we're just at the ankles, and the pelvis is staying really, really well grounded down and even on the floor. Easy hand rests onto your bent leg. Hand on the straight leg side is just going to ease out. Do have both knees bent up more if it's better for you. Remember this, lift up through the pelvis so that we've got that lengthening up through the spine. So don't do this with legs straight, much better legs bent and a nice long back. So then you're just going to come out and into your open space. So gentle with the arms, so we're working round through the central muscles. And then bring yourself back to the centre. And we're going to swap ourselves over, so the other leg is going to be over the top. If you find that one side is different from the other, that's okay, that's life. So adapt as you need to for each side. Hand comes onto your bent leg, same side. Free hand comes onto the floor. We get that little lift up through the pelvis, little gentle lift through the pelvic floor, through the tummy. Then we can ease out and round. And then bring yourself back to the centre. Have both legs that little bit bent up. Soften forwards over both legs. Get really, really soft through the back of your body. So we're wanting that lovely wakening up feeling through the back of the waist, the back of the rib cage, back of the shoulders. And then just choose, you can let your legs lengthen out a bit more if you like. And then walk your hands back up to come up to sitting. So we're going to do a bit of breathing from here. So you're just going to be sitting comfortably, and we're going to do the traditional yoga full breath, which starts in the tummy. We breathe into the tummy, we breathe out into the rib cage and all the way up to the collarbones. And then as we breathe out through the top, out through the centre, and eventually out through the belly, so there's that drawing back and up feeling. So your breathing might be faster or slower than mine. You might need some adaptation to this. So take the bits of what I'm saying and use them, and the bits that don't work for you, just let them go. So you're going to breathe into your belly, in and wide, and then out and into the rib cage, all the way up to the top of the lungs, so you feel like you're full of air, fresh new air. And then breathe out through the top lungs, through the middle of the rib cage, down and down. So we're eventually scooping back and through the tummy. So we feel like there's no air in. And then take that lovely fresh breath in. Belly, rib cage, all the way up to the collarbones. So right the way up to here. And breathe out. One more time, breathing in. Breathing out. And let yourself rest. So my challenge for you today is a slightly political one. There is a lot going on with Black Lives Matter at the moment, and a lot about the inequality that is kind of endemic in our society, and that indeed our society has been built upon. So my challenge for you today, if it feels good for you, so this is very much dependent on where you are in the world, to go out and to find some way that you can share how you feel about Black Lives Matters. However that feels appropriate for you. And if you're looking for inspiration, go into my Facebook page, the yoga. What's it called? It's Facebook the Yoga anyway. But you can find it on my normal website, which is there. There's some nice things on that. And if you're ever looking for pregnancy yoga training, try Yoga Birth. I was been with them for about 15 years, 16 years even. And they're an absolutely fabulous group of women and do really lovely training and have an immense wealth of knowledge. I was at the City Birth weekend online. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so all that's left for me is our little quote for the day. So from Krishnamurti. Knowing the cause of something is not going to help you to be free of it. Knowing the cause of something is not going to help you be free of it. Very pertinent. Hope you have a good day.